Holy fire, holy water, holy money.
Hello everybody, welcome to Kimbweta session. Today we're going to learn about data modeling. When we are saying data, what do you understand? And when we are saying modeling, what do you understand? Okay, it's simply like this. When we are saying data, we are talking about the uninterpreted facts, or we can say unanalyzed facts. And we can say it's a raw data. It's a raw facts. And when we are talking about modeling, we mean that is a way of organizing things, is a way of doing things in a certain style. So that's all about modeling. So in this chapter 6, that is modeling, we are still going on with our analysis phase, and we now talk a bit about something called ELD. And before I carry on, I'd like to share with you some important terminologies here, like logical data modeling and physical data modeling, and something called normalization. When we are talking about logical data modeling, we are talking about analysis phase. It's just a conceptual data modeling. But when we go to designing phase, we will learn about physical data modeling, where there will be physical actions or implementation details added. And we are talking about something called normalization. This is a technique of validating what we call ELD. So I think maybe you may be wondering, what is the ELD? Okay, now we are going to see what is the ELD, and this ELD is a very important part here that we will concentrate on. Okay, when we are saying ELD, this is just like a picture a picture consists of entities, relationships, and attributes. So that's all about ELD. It's like a picture. It describes, or it shows information that's created, stored, or used by the business system, as it has been explained here. So the very important thing you have to know about entity relationship diagram is it's a picture showing how plus information are created, stored, and used by the business system. And here are the very important things we have to know. We have to know the elements of ELD. We have to know data dictionary and metadata, how to create an entity relationship diagram, how to validate the ELD. So let's start with elements of ELD. Elements of ELD first are determined by looking at the name itself. So we have entity and we have relationship. So it means that we have the elements that are entities and relationships. So those are first elements, and then we have something called attributes. So when we are saying entity, what do we mean? And this one is an example of entity relationship diagram, so you will know how to create it as we carry on. Okay, then we come to see the elements of entity relationship diagram. Okay, the elements are like this. So we have entity, we have attribute, we have relationship. It's simple. Entity is just like a person or a place, or we have things that can be. We can give them the name. So like, let's say a customer is an entity. You see that in the when we are saying entity, they are spelled in a singular name. So when you are writing entity or the entity name, it's like this. So you first draw the square about this with a box like this one. It should be square. And then you write the name in capital red that this is the entity. And here we talk about attributes. Attributes are the properties of the entity. You see that? So let's say you have said customer, that's the entity. So then the characteristics or the properties of the entity are called attributes. Let's say the customer name, the customer phone number, and so on. Relationship, how these entities are related. If you have two entities, let's say student and a teacher, how are they related? So here, so these are relationships, and we will come to see what relationship deals what relationship? Talking about relationships. Relationships are the association of entities. We can have 2 entities or 3 entities, and in any association or in any relationship, we have a parent entity and a child entity. A parent entity, a child entity depends on a parent entity. Let's say we have a course and a module. So a course will be a parent entity and a module will be a child entity, because a module always depends on a course. And a relationship should be named as a verb whenever you are trying to show relationship. And it's simple like this. When we are talking about relationship, we should know sometimes the very important things like cardinality and modality. When we say cardinality, this is a ratio between the parent instances and child instances. When I'm saying about instances, I mean these instances like this. We have an entity called customers, and then we have the name. Let's say Johnny. Johnny is the instance. The instant, the thing that describes that entity, or play as take a part as an entity is called an instance. But it's rare to be asked the question like, what is the instance? So when we are talking about cardinality, it's a ratio of parent instances to child instances, and these are described in terms of 3 ways: that we have one-to-one relationship, and one-to-many relationship, and many-to-many relationship. Here the one-to-one relationship shows that a single entity, a parent entity, associated with a single child entity instance. So we have one instance from the parent entity related with one instance of the child entity. Here it's different. We have a single instance of a parent entity relate to many instances of a child entity, and we have many-to-many relations. This shows that many instances of parent entity can relate to instances, to many instances of a child entity. When we are saying, how can we show this? You see, this is a cardinality. These arrows are not. These arrows, these ones, this shows that this is a many-to-many relationship. This one, this is a parent. And this kind of relationship is not kindly recommended, because it may bring out errors. So it's not recommended. You should use another kind of relationship like one-to-many or one-to-one. Okay, when we're talking about modality as another part of relationship, we should know this shows a sense of null or not null. It means that if the if the child entity can exist or can be there without depending on the parent entity, we say it's null. It's null modality. Or if it depends on the parent, we say that it is not null. And it is shown by putting this sign, this 0. So it shows us this is null. It means this doesn't depend on this, or this doesn't depend on this one. So that's all about modality. It means the instance of a child entity can't exist without related instances in the parent entity. So this is not null. And this means that an instance of a child entity can exist without related instances in the parent entity. So I think it's clear. And we come to data dictionary and metadata. This is just you can say it's a library that consists of the information about the elements of the ELD, like entities, attributes, and it's called metadata. It's just like a library. This is a library. Something that's how we can create entity relationship diagram. We're gonna look with in the coming video how we can create. These are the processes, then we'll talk them in the coming video.